Abuse of prescription drugs by young people is on the rise, and the CSRA is not immune to this very real issue.
A lot of young people think prescription drugs are less risky because they're prescribed by a doctor. Preventing domestic violence, it is the goal of a panel comprised of some heavy hitters, the state's attorney general, law enforcement agencies, and advocacy groups.
Hi everyone. 4 years after the invasion of Iraq, it's a good time to take stock. Since the war began, 3,192 U.S. troops have been killed, more than 24,000 wounded. At least 50,000 Iraqi civilians have died.
It's war.
When we as people are going through something that is traumatic, to tell someone or to be told, oh, you'll be fine. Just, run it off or, put a little bit of dirt on it. You'll be fine. It's just so great. It's just so awesome. It's so great that you're back home now. Maybe it's not great. Maybe I'm right in that messy middle where I'm trying to figure out who the hell I am and how I fit back in this whole family dynamic. And I'm trying to do all these different things. Don't patronize me and say, oh, it's going to be fine. No, don't do that. Yeah, it might be fine. It's probably going to be fine, but don't do that.
Welcome home, everybody. It's your man Stryker, and this is War. We're all recovering. Where warriors speak truth. Where pain turns into purpose. Where silence gets broken. Today's episode is powerful and necessary because too many veterans are fighting a war long after the battlefield. And today we are diving right into it. My guest is a retired Air Force veteran, military educator, mentor to thousands, speaker, and author, a man of many. An author of After the Uniform, a man who has dedicated his life to helping veterans rebuild identity, purpose, and emotional resilience after service. A leader who teaches healing without toxic positivity. And a creator of Strengthen the Positive. Jeff Rogers, welcome to War.
Stryker, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I sure do appreciate your time, and I appreciate the invite. And I'm really looking forward to our conversation today.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for being here. Jeff, let's start right where the conversation, most conversations avoid. When the uniform came off and the world got quiet, what hit you the hardest?
It was that quiet. That's what it was. Okay, so as you mentioned, I'm a retired Air Force NCO, and initially, I had a job lined up. I was set. I was ready to go. Paychecks were going to keep coming. Everything was cool as far as that's concerned. In fact, my parents had just moved down here to Florida as well. They moved right next door to me. So I had my new job. I had my family. I had my parents living right next door to me, and they were, they were up there. I'm 57 years old, so now, they were up there, and so I had a lot of different things I was juggling, but at the same time, excuse me, there was that quiet. There was the quiet of, when I was in the military, I always had something going on. There was always something happening, whether it was work itself. I was deeply involved in the Air Force Sergeants Association. All these different things were constantly moving, constantly churning. And when I finally retired from the military, that was all gone. So I had to kind of fall back on those other things. So I really dove deep into my work at the time, my family, of course, and also my parents. And things were going pretty well. But I got to tell you, you don't realize how bad things are going until they're not going well anymore. At least they don't feel like they're going well anymore. So what ended up happening, unfortunately, in 2020, my mom passed away. And just last year, my dad passed away. So I no longer had that caretaker component. And that's when it all hit me again. That's when the quiet hit me again. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm working. I've got a wonderful family. I love my family. We do a whole lot of really cool stuff together. But every time that these little pieces get taken away or they just fall away, it's another level of quiet. So it turned into a now what? Now what am I going to do? So many veterans and Stryker, they used to pay me for a living to talk. So just tell me to shut up when you need to.
You good, brother. You good. Let's go.
So when people first got out of the military, lots of times there's that identity crash. They don't understand. They don't understand how different it is to be out of the military. And it is different. I mean, you're going to be dealing with people who have no sense of accountability, no sense of responsibility, and it's totally foreign to people who've been in the military. So
Bingo.
you've got that identity crash. You've had the feeling that you have no direction. Yeah, you try to get a job, and most of us do get a job, but there's also a stat that says, I believe it's 27 or 28% of veterans, when they get out of the military, within the first year, they leave that job. And the reason for that is that they don't feel like that job is fulfilling them as far as being part of something bigger than themselves, like they had when they were in the military. So, I mean, after my parents passed away, the first thing I said to myself is I got to do something to get involved somewhere, somehow. So I got involved with my local American Legion. And I started talking to folks there. And I realized that in those conversations, there were plenty of other veterans just like me who have been silently suffering for years.
Yes.
For me, we're talking 17, 18 years before I realized, as I said, you think everything's going good until it's not. When my parents passed away, it wasn't going good for me. That was a very, very big blow. And as much as my family supported me and continue to support me and will always support me, that blow it knocked me down. I just come right out and say it. So I went from in the military, clear-cut mission, everything is good, 20 years of that, to I don't have a mission, but I got this job and I can keep myself mentally busy, to not recognize how much I'm suffering silently. But then when my parents passed away, that's really when it hit me. I was talking to other veterans who were similarly suffering, and I said, there's got to be something I can do, even if it's just a small piece. So that's what I did. I sat down. I started looking at other things. I actually started a TikTok channel. Don't get me wrong, I'm no influencer, at least not on TikTok anyway. But I was all about, accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative. And that turned into strengthen the positive, which is now my program for veterans who are in that transition, whether they're newly making the transition or some older person like me, 15, 18, 20, 30 years down the road, and you're still not grabbing who you are. So that gap, no matter when you face it, you shouldn't have to face it alone. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to fill that gap.
Right. First, Jeff, let me say condolences on losing your mother and your father.
Thank you. I
That's
appreciate
tough,
that.
man. And yeah, you're right. Silence is definitely like a killer, it's with veterans, and it's a totally different world out there, when you go to the civilian life and you feel like, it's too relaxed almost, like for me, I'm used to the structure, like it took a whole bunch of, I didn't realize how much I was used to the structure until I got into like PTSD programs and all these different programs to help me confront, what was going on with me. And that's when I realized I need that structure. You know,
Yep.
it's crazy. So you poured into thousands of airmen, right? But when it was your turn to transition, who poured into you?
Well, I think that was part of the problem. I didn't really have anyone when I first got out to really help me through the transition. The military does a great job getting us in. They ship you, in my case, they ship you to Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas. They take everything that makes you, you, they strip it away, and they build, just like all the services do. Some better than others. I'm going to go ahead and say that because, you know, the Marines are always going to say that the Air Force is a bunch of
Oh, the
whips. But it's
Marines.
all
Oh,
right.
let's not get into the Marines. Let's not.
We love you, Marines. We love
Yes,
you.
yes, we love you guys. Hoorah!
But they do a great job in building us into this, in my case, into an airman. And then whether it's 4 years, 6 years, whatever it is, 20 years, they put you through this transition assistance program. So it's transition assistance. Cool. Teach me how to do an interview. Teach me how to write a resume. Teach me how to transfer or translate my military jargon into civilian jargon. And that's pretty much it. Now,
Right.
don't get me wrong. They're trying to make it better, but that takes time. So when you get out of the military, it's all about the tactical stuff. There's resumes, there's pieces of paper, there's this, that, and the other. And I just happen to have my resume right here, but another story, long story. I want to get into that. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to fill that gap with the internal stuff. So for me, to answer your question, I didn't really have anybody outside of my family who didn't understand what I was going through, who didn't understand. You know, my wife didn't understand what it was like to go into a location on base and have everybody know you.
Mm,
Everybody knew me. Why did they all know me? Because at MacDill Air Force Base, I was an instructor at the Airman Leadership School. So all the airmen who came through and became supervisors, they met me, all of them, during that time period. Then I took over the first term Airman Center. So all of the airmen who were coming to the base, they all went through my program. So anyone who was an E5 and below, they all knew who I was. I knew who all the first sergeants were. I knew the vast majority of the commanders. And then when I left the military, I go to in this case, the base exchange. I go to the base exchange. I don't know anybody
mm,
because they're all gone. They've all
right.
transitioned. They're on another base. So who was there for me? It was me.
Right.
It was me doing what I could to try to keep grounded mentally, while at the same time churning, always churning, trying to find something to put the puzzle back together to keep me moving, to keep me active.
Right. I love this conversation. I love it. It's bringing the truth forward. I love it. You talk deeply about rebuilding identity after service. How does someone even begin rebuilding when they feel like they lost themselves, you know, once the mission disappeared?
Well, the first thing is that, um, and you'll hear this about any kind of recovery, and I'm going to call it recovery, not because it's we'll just call it, but it's not linear. So you cannot expect that you're going to go from feeling totally lost, I don't know what the heck's going on, to totally found in a certain amount of time.
Mm,
Well, it's going to take 6 months and everything will be fine. No. Setbacks, stalls, speed bumps, if you will, they're all going to be in the road. You're going to
mm,
have to take detours. You're going to have to do different things to make sure that you're getting where you need to go. So the best thing to do when we're trying to get through this whole process is small steps. That's what I try to tell people. Take small steps. those small steps, make sure that they're winnable, make sure that they're achievable. I'm not going to get into, trying to make smart goals and all that kind of stuff. That's too deep. That's too much. Look, wake up in the morning. Acknowledge the fact that you're here. Acknowledge the fact that you can make someone's life better, even just by giving someone a smile at the store. Doing all these little things, these small things. Try to build habits that you had while you were in the military, now that you're out, but to keep your mind going, to keep going forward. We all have our old military habits. For me, I hate being late. I hate it. I can't stand it. In fact, even just for this conversation, I was set up and ready to go. But I was hesitating to press the button because you don't want to be too early. You don't want to be the weirdo who's really early. But I was ready.
Right.
So it's really just about doing what you can to keep grounded. And sometimes it's those things that what we're trying to do is keep things simple, try to establish good habits. And the biggest thing is stay connected with someone, or connect with someone that you can tell the truth to, and they'll tell you the truth. When you're going down the wrong path, they'll help you, and you're able to be vulnerable and human with that person. I probably went through all kinds of different squirrel rabbit trails on that. So I apologize. I got a thousand things going through my head.
You're good.
So it's all about just trying to stay grounded, and that's a lot easier said than done.
Right. Right. And let me say this. I'm with you. I hate to be late, and I hate for people to be late. It always pisses me off when people are not at least, 10 minutes, prior to the schedule. I'm like, if you're on time, you're late. That's my pet peeve. So I'm with you on that. And you're absolutely right about, following, finding yourself right away. I retired in 2011, and I'm just now beginning to find myself all these years later. Like, I never felt comfortable. I went from state to state. Nothing felt like home to me. And I'm just now starting to settle in and feel at home. That's wild. So, what did you discover about yourself after the military that you never had time or space to see while serving?
Oh, that's a really good question. I discovered after, this is just again, this is just recently. I discovered that I was always and constantly on the run.
Hmm.
And when you're in it, you don't recognize it. And I was constantly I retired in 2007. So, like I said, 17, 18 years later is when it really started to kick in who I was and what I need to be doing to move forward, because I was always constantly running. I was chasing promotions. I was chasing the next job. I was chasing and I was never satisfied, if that makes sense. I was always chasing.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm still chasing. Don't get me wrong, but my mind has shifted to, rather than, and this is going to sound really corny. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it anyway. I'm not chasing for me anymore. I'm chasing for others. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to help others find themselves so that they don't feel like they're constantly chasing themselves. They're trying to grasp onto who they really are.
I get it.
So what did I discover after I got out? I just discovered how I was just, I had a full head of hair when I started. I was always running so fast it all fell out.
Right. I'm with you.
I think that's probably the biggest thing, that now I'm able to focus on different things and be productive. And it's not just about me. It's about so many others, whether it's my family, whether it's my friends, whether it's my brothers and sisters at the Legion, my brothers and sisters in the military community. Um, I just want to make a difference. And
Hmm.
if I do that, if I can do that one person at a time, I said the same thing when I was an instructor. If I can help one person do their job better than before they met me, then I've done my job. So,
Right.
um, so yeah, there's, I mean, that's just the first thing that I can think of what I discovered about myself, is that, man, I was exhausted
Yeah.
because I was always running.
Right. Right. And now it seems like you found your purpose. And
Yeah.
that's great. Your purpose is to chase for other people. And I see, my purpose is to kind of try to help, people heal.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I feel you on that wholeheartedly. And speaking of purpose, that's something many of us veterans never find after separation. So how does someone create a new purpose when everything feels like starting over,
Well,
you
I think
think?
the first thing is that you have to acknowledge that you are kind of starting over.
Right.
Many veterans, they get out of the military and they say to themselves, well, I'm a former senior NCO, for example. I'm a former, field grade officer. I'm a former whatever. Yeah, you're a former whatever. You are now, when it comes to the civilian world, you're now starting at that bottom rung,
Mm,
whether you deserve it or not. Let me get that straight. Because yes, you are a former high ranking individual, more than likely. You have done all these different things. You've done all these different, you've had all these different accomplishments. But in the civilian world, that doesn't transition easily. So the first thing that I think that folks need to do is recognize that you're kind of starting from the beginning, and having that mindset of, okay, I've just got to rebuild my reputation. I've got to rebuild my network. I've got to rebuild the different things that make me me. Then you're going to be on the right side of that argument, if you will. What are some of the things you can do to actually get that going? Well, one of the best things that I think that we can do is to stay connected with like-minded individuals. I'm a member of the American Legion here in my hometown. There's the VFW, there's the American Legion, there's all sorts of military affiliated organizations or veteran service organizations that you can get involved with to help you get through this feeling like I'm starting all over again. The veteran service organizations of yesterday are no longer those organizations today. It
mm,
used to be, back in the day, the Legion, the VFW, whatever it was, that was just a place where the old folky stogies went to
mm.
get fired up and drown their sorrows in whatever, and just complain about and just talk about the old days when I was in the. It's not like that anymore. These organizations are built now to really serve the communities that they're in. Just as an example, while I'm not a member of the American Legion Riders, I don't ride a motorcycle, but the American Legion Riders is one of the most impactful veteran service volunteer organizations in the country. They
Really?
do, oh yeah, they do all kinds of rides. They're doing uh, all kinds of positive events. They do Toys for Tots and all that. Of course, the Marines do the Toys for Tots as well. I mean, that's where it starts. But all these different things. I mean, hundreds of thousands of miles that they ride
Mm,
in an effort to help other veterans. And people don't know about that. And why don't they know? Well, I think that many don't ask the question, but I also think that sometimes these organizations, they don't advertise, they don't market enough of what they do. So what are some of the things that people can do? Get in touch with other veterans. It may not be the folks that you served with, but it's folks that have been in your shoes. Show up. If you're going to join one of these organizations, don't just sign the application and that's it. Show up, volunteer, do things in the community. And then what happens is, like I was mentioning earlier, now you're starting to build that reputation. Now you're starting to build that network. Now you're starting to build who you are again. Many times when people join the military, they're leaving something that they were. Maybe they were a painter. Maybe they were someone who, a mechanic, someone who built things. Well, when you get out, you can always go back to that if you like, if you have it. But if you don't have it, then go find something. It's out there. I will say this, no one's going to come and knock on your door. They're not going to knock on your door and say, hey, do you want to be part of this organization? No, you've got to go out and get it. You've got to go out and do it. Because if you don't, you sit in silence. And we talked about in the beginning of our conversation, the silence is what's going to get you. The silence is what's going to, that's the downfall. Think forward. I am starting from the beginning. That's okay. I have a whole lot of experience in my back pocket. I'm gonna take that out when I'm ready. But let's build. Let's build. Let's build. Don't take for granted that your military background is just going to be, oh he served 20 years in the military. Look, let's give him a job. No, you've got to prove yourself.
Right.
You've got to prove yourself, and that's what the way you do that is by building that reputation and doing everything that you can to be positive, to be present, and to be patient. You've got to be patient too. So, Stryker, you've got me thinking all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm just all over the place. I'm sorry.
I'm thinking a lot of crazy stuff because why are you saying start from the bottom and people not giving you a job because you did 20 years and that's so true. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there, civilians, that believe veterans are crazy. Like
Yes.
I've ran into a lot of, instances like that and friends that, got in trouble because they automatically think that, it's a screw loose or something. Oh, he has PTSD. He's dangerous. So
Yep.
a lot of stuff is going on in my mind too. But this
Sure.
this is so real, and because without purpose, purpose is oxygen for a veteran. Without it, it feels like we're kind of suffocating. So
Oh wow, that
you know,
is so. We'll
it's
write
hitting
that one
home.
down. I'm gonna write that down
Yeah,
because that is so true.
right,
Without it, it feels like we're suffocating. Man, that is.
right. It just came to me. It just came to me, Jeff. It just because this conversation is really hitting home. I love it. You know. So you work closely with families in transition and reintegration. What is something families need to understand about a veteran coming home that is almost always misunderstood?
I think the biggest thing, and I've said this on other in other interviews as well. I think the biggest thing is that, especially if the service member has seen the darker side of the military experience. If they've seen that, if they've been in those situations where they've had um, to exercise their training, I'm trying to be very, very. I don't want to get too deep into this because I get upset. But
Right,
what happens is when people get out, oftentimes they will be asked questions about what it was like when they were in. And they'll be asked questions that are very pointed and, in my opinion, very inappropriate. and they'll say something. So while you were in, did you blank and blank anybody? And stuff like that. And I think that it's important for families to understand that the service member, when they were going through that traumatic chaos in their lives, the last thing they want to do many times is relive it by talking about it, especially to someone who they love. And they don't want to kind of pour that trauma onto them. I'm not saying that's always the case. There are plenty of people who they feel very good about talking about it because it releases all that tension, it releases all that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But leaving the military and going through all that stuff is like any type of grief. Everybody does it different. When my parents passed away, I grieved in a certain way. My siblings grieved in a different way because we're all different. So it's important for military family members to understand that they may know someone else's family and he or she got out of the military and they're freely talking about their experience. Why aren't you? Why aren't you talking about your experience? Well, because number one, I don't want to put that on you. And number two, I kind of don't want to relive that again. So the biggest piece of advice I have for family members is feel free to ask the questions. Just be smart about it. Don't be blunt and, so how many blanky blanks did you blanky blank? But be ready for the answer if you get one, and be ready if you don't get one.
Right.
Because there's no right way to go through that grief, to go through that trauma. And, so many people, you mentioned, the folks who have, the PTSD situation is so debilitating for so many. And it's, so the biggest thing is to have patience, just like I said about the folks who are joining in the civilian world, but to have patience with that family member. And sure, you can ask all the questions that you want. Be comfortable with the answer. You may not like it if you get it, but also be comfortable if you don't get an answer at all. And that's okay. Right. It's okay if they don't want to talk about it.
Right. Yeah. I was going to say also, I shut down. I was one of them people that didn't answer them questions, because I was afraid of, opening up old wounds. I kind of try to bury them, because I was afraid of how I would react, down the line, just bringing them memories back to the service. So, be ready for that too when you're asking them questions.
Exactly. That's exactly what I mean when I said be ready, because you could be opening up a floodgate that you never intended.
Exactly. So this is a question. I bounce all my questions for my guests off of my wife. This is a question that So she plays the guest, and and she'll be like, "That's a good one, babe," and I'll be like, "I know, I did it myself." But so this one is one that I really wanted, that I was really kind of concentrating on. This next question. So how can someone love a veteran deeply but still not know how to support them?
You talk to your wife. She should have said that's a terrible question.
Yeah.
Because it's an awesome question, but she should have said, don't ask that question. That's a tough one.
Right.
How can you love a veteran and not know how to support them? Well, I think the key there is finding out how you can support them. And sometimes it's just asking the question. Honey, I love you. I love you very much, but I want to support you. What can I do? What can I not do to help support you? What do we need to do so that you feel that you're going through this transition and that we're doing this together? if you're a military husband or wife or a significant other, and you've been going through the whole military career all this time, well, it's just a new facet of that career. Excuse me. It's a new facet of that career where now we are out of the military. It's not just you, it's me too, as a spouse, if I'm a spouse. We're out now. What are we going to do to be successful? What support do you need? Sometimes that support's, they're going to say, look, I want to talk. Sometimes they're going to say, I don't want to talk. Sometimes it's going to be, I want a shoulder to cry on. Don't ask me any questions. Just let me get this out. Sometimes it'll be, just give me a hug. Sometimes it'll be, let's go for a ride. But you've got to ask the questions. If you really want to support that person, ask what they need. They may not know right away, and that's okay too. But oftentimes, the love in and of itself can be enough, but more times than not, it's not. So what can I do to help? For me personally, it's been deep conversations with my wife about a lot of different things once I got out. And especially, I'm not trying to harp on my tragedies, but after my parents passed away, I mean, I don't know where I would be if she wasn't by my side.
Right.
And oftentimes what she would ask me was, what can I do? I don't know right now, but I knew that she was there. I knew that she was there, ready, willing, and able to help with whatever I needed. So how can you love a vet and not really know how to support him or her? Be there.
Just be there.
Just be there.
Right.
Don't
That's all you can
chastise
do.
them. Don't, you never tell me anything. Don't, you hold it all in. None of that stuff. No judgment. Just be there.
Excellent. Okay. So what's the first step to rebuilding a connection in a home that feels like, two different worlds?
Well, and it's funny that you say it that way because I experienced that. So I was sent on 2 remote assignments to South Korea. The first one, my 2 boys were very young. I want to say 3 and 5. Yeah, maybe 3 and 5, maybe 2 and 4. But anyway, when I came back, this is back in 1993, 94 timeframe, so it's a long time ago. They were young enough to not even really recognize that I was gone. I mean, really, a 5-year-old, they really don't have a good take on time and the time that passes. So when I came home, it was just like always. Fast forward 13 years later, I'm sent to Korea again. And now when I come home, my oldest is a senior in high school. My middle is a sophomore in high school. And we now have a daughter who is in middle school. They definitely knew I was gone. There's no doubt about it because dude's been gone for a year.
Right.
So when I came home, and this was my last assignment, so now I'm retired as well. My kids would walk by me. I'm sitting there on the couch or whatever. They would walk by me to go find my wife to find out if they could do XYZ. So it was like I was a stranger in my own house.
Yeah.
And that is very common. That's very common when you look at folks who have deployed and all those kind of things. So how do you bring that back? From the veteran perspective, you've got to be patient. I think that's the 3rd or 4th time I've said that in our conversation. But you have to be patient because life has gone on without you. Life is a conveyor belt. This is the way I've always tried to talk about it. Life is a conveyor belt. And we're moving along that conveyor belt. Everything's fine. Everything's good. And then when we get deployed or we go to a remote assignment, we jump off. and we're on a different conveyor belt. It's kind of parallel, but it's going a little bit maybe faster or slower. The problem is that we get back, that original conveyor belt has been trucking right along. They've been doing what they've had to do in your absence. They have been making new rules. They have been making new procedures, new protocols in the family. And for you to come bebopping back in and expect it's going to be just like it was 13 months ago, you are sorely mistaken if you think that's the way it's going to go. So you've got to be patient, and you've got to understand that change has now, it's going to take some time for that to come back to what it'll never be like it used to be, because those, once time is gone, it's gone.
Right.
But you can always build that right back up again, and next thing you know, given some time, it'll seem like you never left. But you got to be patient, and
Patience is
you
key.
all have to be patient. The whole family has to be patient when you're on.
Right. Patience is key. It'll come. Just hold your horses. Hold your horses. Yes, I feel that. You use the
back.
phrase, huh?
Get back here, horse.
Yeah. Because we lack. Some of us lack patience.
Mhm.
A lot of us lack patience. So, yeah, I feel that. So you use the phrase "healing without toxic positivity," right? Where do you think we went wrong with the idea, that people should just stay positive no matter what?
Yeah.
I hear that a
Well,
lot.
rah rah, sis boom ba, kumbaya, whatever you want to call it. That, to me, is so fake. When we, and this is not just for veterans, but when we as people are going through something that is traumatic, to tell someone, or to be told, "Oh, you'll be fine. Just run it off," or put a little bit of dirt on it, you'll be fine. Or oh, it's just so great. It's just so awesome. It's so great that you're back home now. And maybe it's not great. Maybe I'm right in that messy middle right now, where I'm trying to figure out who the hell I am and how I fit back in this whole family dynamic. And I'm trying to do all these different things. Don't patronize me and say, "Oh, it's going to be fine." No, don't do that. Yeah, it might be fine. It's probably going to be fine, but don't do that. So I find that there seems to be this toxic positivity, especially in the veteran transition space, where people are just told, "Suck it up, it's going to be okay." And that's just not the way it is. It's just not the way it is. And we've always been trained while we were in the military that's what you do. You suck it up. You dig deep. You
Mm-hmm.
do what you got to do, and
Yep.
make the mission happen. Well, while you're in the military, that's sort of what they define as resilience. When you're still going, even though you're hitting all these blockades, and you're hitting all these speed bumps, and you're just busting through them. Yeah, that's great when you're in the military. But true resilience, when you get out, and even while you're in, but especially when you get out, is admitting that you need some help. I can't do this on my own. So, rah rah, sis boom ba, let's you got this. You can do this. To me, that discounts that person's feelings, that discounts their emotions and their self-identity to do that.
Mm.
And we need to acknowledge that there's times that we need help, find the help that we need, and take the best help that we can from it. So some people, I'll go down this road real fast. Some people say, "Well, you're just gonna have to talk to a professional. Something you need to talk to." Maybe you do, maybe you don't. For me, it's all about getting it out. So for me, what I started doing when I first got out is I started writing stuff down. If you can get that fairly negative thought out of your brain, through your arm, through the pen, to a piece of paper, you can let that go. At least that's the theory.
Right.
What I've found is sometimes we need a prompt. Sometimes we need some guidance when we're trying to do journaling or trying to do those things. Getting away from the toxic positivity, getting away from you need professional help. Sometimes it's just a matter of sitting down and being honest with yourself and saying, I need help. Where am I going to go to get it?
Mm.
Am I going to go to someone with a doctor in front of their name? Or am I going to go and talk to folks who've been in similar situations? Am I just going to call my buddy who experienced the same thing that I experienced? We're just going to talk it through. Am I going to come on a podcast with a guy named Stryker and talk about all the different things that I've been going through and maybe how I can help others or get help? What is it? And go get it. Because again, no one's going to knock on the door and say, hey, do you need help? You've got to go and get it. So
right.
The toxic positivity is the reason why I talk about that is because to me it's fake. It's fake. And it's people just want to just shush it off with, oh, it'll be fine. It'll be okay. Just keep trucking.
Right.
I'm not sure why they do this.
Right. That a boy.
go get him.
Yeah. That's okay. So, in your opinion, Jeff, what does strength look like when someone is breaking, just breaking inside and afraid to say it out loud?
Don't be afraid. The strength is to have the vulnerability to say it. Even if you're by yourself. I'm not saying it to anybody. Maybe I'm in the bathroom. Maybe I'm in the shower. And maybe I just need to just get it. I need to form the words and get it out. Maybe I need to write it down. There were times that I would just write down, I'm angry. Right now I'm angry. Then I would think about why. Why am I angry? I'm angry because they left me. I'm angry because whatever it is. So having the I don't like to say have the courage because it makes it seem like there's no courage, but have the vulnerability. Let yourself be vulnerable enough to say it. Whether you're saying it to someone, whether you're saying it just to yourself, but you've got to get that out. Emotions are like a pressure cooker. You turn it on, things start to bubble, things start to do what they're doing. We're cooking, some whatever we're cooking. And, the pressure cooker has that little vent on the top. So you can kind of let things out. Psh, 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 psh. That's cool. But in the old days, the old pressure cookers, if you didn't have them set up right, they would just explode.
Mm.
And that's what emotions are. They're just like a pressure cooker. And if you don't take care of them and you don't make sure that they're kept in check, sooner or later, you're going to explode.
Mm.
And when you explode, you don't want, that's detrimental to both yourself mentally and anyone around you.
Right.
So what do I say? I say it. Get it out. You've got to get out to somebody.
Right. I don't even mess with them pressure cookers, man. Yeah, my wife, that's her favorite cooking utensil or whatever that she uses with the knob on the top.
Yeah.
Those things are very, very scary. So I stay far away from them, man. So, Jeff, why is slowing down so crucial for real recovery?
Because slowing down gives us the time to really recognize what's going on. So think of it as a car. If I'm driving down the street at 120 miles an hour, cool. I'm rolling. But all I see is that point in front of me. because I'm going so fast that if I look away, we're going to have a problem, or we could have a problem. So I'm rolling fast. I'm going. What's going to happen is my field of vision is going to get down to a point where all I see is the road in front of me, and that's it. And you're going to get from point A to point B. Sure, you're going to get there. You might even get there really, really fast. But when we slow down, now we start to see, oh, the leaves have started changing colors. Oh, there's a restaurant over there that I've been wanting to try for a long time. Oh, there's a store over there that I can buy my wife a new pressure cooker if I need to.
I like that.
When we slow down,
Right.
we are able to take in the forest for the trees. We can actually see everything that's going on around us, to include all of the different emotions and things that are going on in our heads. And if we're able to slow down, we can recognize it, we can acknowledge it, and we can do something about it. So that's why it's, at least for me, and that's, you know, what I advise folks to do, is to step back, slow down, really take the time to understand what's going on around you, what's going on inside you, and how we can smooth out any of those wrinkles. And it could be very wrinkly, and that's okay. But how can we smooth that stuff out?
Wow. That's going to hit home, man. That's going to hit home for every listener who measures, worth by, productivity instead of, peace. That's real. So you built a community through the American Legion and strengthened the positive. Why is community the medicine most veterans refuse to take?
Because I got this. Help? I don't need no help. I got this. I don't need to. No, I don't need. I see it all the time. I'm pretty active on different Facebook groups. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn and other places as well. And you see it all the time. There are so many people who just think they can handle it on their own. 99.9%, that's just you can't do it on your own. You people need to have some sort of connection. It could be with your spouse, it could be with a friend, it could be whatever, but you need to have some kind of community. Otherwise, you're just by yourself. And we talked about it in the beginning. If you're by yourself, then you're silently suffering, and the silence is going to get you. So, acknowledge that, not so much that I need people, but I want to be social. I want to be able to go out and have a good time. I want to be able to laugh again. I want to be able to not feel guilty that I came back even though others didn't. I want to not feel guilty that I'm continuing when others can't. I understand the guilt. I totally get it. But you're not doing, my opinion, you're not doing the memory of whoever you feel guilty about. You're not doing them any justice by becoming a hermit, by not carrying on. They would want you to carry on. I know for me in particular, when it comes to my parents, there's no way that they would condone me not doing what I'm doing. Oh, Jeff, you're always so busy. Just take it easy. Just take it easy. Just, no. Jeff, keep going. My mother told me I had a book in me, and damn it, I wrote it. And I didn't know what the book was going to be about, but sooner or later I wrote it, and I'm here to try to do what I can to help other people. So,
yes, sir.
It's for those who feel like they can do it on their own. Please know that, and I'm not trying to be negative, but you can't. You can't do it on your own.
Nope.
And find someone that you can talk to, that you can be truthful with, that you can be vulnerable with, that's not going to judge you. And once you do that, the world will open up for you.
Yes. Yes, it will, Jeff. Yes, it will. That vulnerability you'll see things just like you said, open up. The whole
Yep.
picture change.
Yep.
That is so true. Wow. You're thinking it for me, man. You're saying it out, and that's exactly what's going through my head. It's amazing. So, how do we rebuild? This is another good one. How do we rebuild, you know, brotherhood and belonging without that rank, structure, or mission to hold us together?
Well, the American Legion, as an example, is one of the first things they say is there is no rank here. So you could be talking to someone who is or was a general. You could be talking to someone who is or was a private, and it doesn't matter. We're all on the same level playing field. We're all important. Now, sure, there's officers who are elected, but that's just because of the administration of the post, in this case, the American Legion. So we don't need rank to belong. We don't need positions to belong. All we need is an open heart and an open mind. I go to the American Legion. I know that there are people who had whatever ranks they had, and they all call me brother. And I call them all brother. We didn't serve together. Some of these folks, they've been out since before I was born. We call each other brother. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how that works, but it works because there's that common understanding. There's that common camaraderie that goes with being in the military at any time in your life. I have trying to reconnect. I hope we're not having a problem. I have people who, if I were to see them on the street, I would never know that they were part of the military. Ever.
Right.
But you walk into the post and you see all these people. Hey, what's going on? Hey, Jeff. Hey, babe, what's going on? Hey. And it's refreshing. Let me just put it that way. It's refreshing that you can go to a place, and I was going to say you can go to a place where everybody knows your name, but that's a song. But it's just one of the, now some people they would rather not do that. But the beauty thing about veteran organizations is there is a veteran organization for any and every veteran out there. I just stumbled across just recently it's like the American Korean military. That's not what it's called, but it's something like that. And it's for anyone who's ever served in the Republic of Korea. I had no idea that. I just found that, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. I started looking into it. I'm like, hey, yeah, I was in Korea twice. Saw some people who were, talking about this, that, and the other. And I'm like, yeah, I recall that. I remember that. Right away, I don't know any of those people, but right away there's already some shared camaraderie. There's some shared experience there. And that is what builds that community, that shared experience.
Okay. Someone watching this, unfortunately, right now, are feeling like, they're losing the fight. What would you say to that veteran who feels like they are out of strength, and they're just out of time? They can't go on.
First off, what I would say is the fact that you feel that you can't go on proves that you can go on. The fact that you have that feeling, I think I've hit rock bottom. I think this is I'm at rock bottom. The fact that you are able to acknowledge that should tell you that there's a possibility of getting out of that. Otherwise, it wouldn't have gotten you where you are now, as far as being able to recognize that. So I'm a member of some of the different Facebook groups, and I've seen it. Some people get on there and they're like, look, I'm at the end of the rope. I'm at the end of my rope. I can't go any further. talk to someone. Talk to someone who has no skin in the game. Dial 988 if you have to. Dial 988, extension 1. That goes right for the veterans. And it goes straight to the folks who are going to be able to help you through what's, the immediate issue right now. If you don't feel like 988 is going to help you, call 911 and say, look, this is what's going on. So on, hey, I'm in a really bad spot right now. There's nothing else I can do. Now, those are extreme cases. Not to say that happens all the time. So if you're in that space right now, know that there is someone out there that's ready to help you. But again, as I said before, they're not going to knock on your door. No one's going to knock on your door and say, do you feel like you're at the end of the rope today? They're not going to knock on your door and say, do you feel like you might want to make a permanent solution to a temporary problem? You've got to find it. You've got to go and get it. The American Legion, I know I keep talking about them, but just because I know about the different programs that we have a program called Be the One. I think it's betheone.org. You can look it up, but it's Be the One. And what that program is all about is to be the one that reaches out to help. Be the one that reaches out and is available. Not so much reaches out to help, but is available. Be that one person that someone who's in a crisis can go to. Be the one. There's all kinds of resources that are available. The Legion, the VFW, and other organizations are constantly doing buddy checks all the time just to make sure everyone's good to go. But if you're in that position and you feel like you're at the end of the road, you're not at the end of the road, not yet. So find someone who can help you find the rest of the road. That is just one of those, right now it just says road closed, but that's a fence. You can move that fence, right, and keep going.
Right. Thank you for that. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for continuing to serve long after the uniform. Tell the people where they can find you, your book, and Strengthen the Positive.
All right. Well, Strengthen the Positive, my website is just that, strengthenthepositive.com, www.strengthenthepositive.com, all one word. My books are available on Amazon. After the Uniform book is also available at Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, and any online retailer of your favorite your favorite reading your favorite reading materials. But all 4 of my books, my book and my 3 journals, are available on Amazon. All you have to do is just put in After the Uniform and Jeff Rogers, and it'll come right up. And then if you go to my my author page, you'll see all my other books if they don't come up right away. So strengthenthepositive.com, Amazon, Books A Million, BAM, all those places.
And I'll be sure to add all of that in the description when I post the video as well. This conversation will save lives, Jeff. I can't wait to get it out there. And this is why we do this, So thank you again for your blessing us to, being here with us today. And to everyone watching, remember, each one reach one, stay sturdy. We're all recovering. Peace.
The invasion of Iraq is a good time to take stock. Since the war began, 3,192 U.S. troops have been killed, more than 24,000 wounded. At least 50,000 Iraqi civilians have died.
It's war.